This is the third video segment that I'm preparing for the people who want to transition from the Catia V5 program to the 3D Experience platform release 2023X. Now, the uh, keep in mind that the the form of the Catia V5 that's embedded in 3D Experience is actually Catia V6, it's not Catia V5, and therefore it is not immediately obvious on how some of the features in V5 are going to transfer to 3D experience. What I did, at least the first two segments, including this one, I'm going to be concentrating on showing you how to display the parameters created and the design table and any equations or relations that are created in the tree, which is in 3D experience, which is not the same as what you were doing in CATIA V5. Uh, now, I already did one. Second one was using the design table actually by creating parameters. This one is a more straightforward way of doing the same thing, except that I'm not going to create parameters, but I'm going to rename dimension. This is much easier than the previous one. However, it does not apply to the uh, design table for assemblies. Okay. Now, do that in the context of this problem. It's the same drawing. So we have a box here, which equal dimensions at the base and a radius there. And uh, I, I, I want to make this height half of that and these two heights being the same. But I'm not going to create parameters. I'm going to create those relations and then make this thing and rename it to be L, and this radius rename it to be R. Okay, but this is a repetition of what we did in the first and second video, and that is to show you how to actually display the relations and parameters. Now, I don't have any parameters in this particular problem, but the relations I have in the tree. So what you do is you go to the preferences, and then when this window pops up under the Common Preferences tab, you select Object Properties, and when you do that, this menu opens up on the left. Use the 3D shape, select the 3D shape, don't worry about these two other guys, and select the display, and you notice that in order for parameters and relations to show up in your tree, relation means formulas, etc., equations, these two must be checked. If they're not checked, you're not going to see it in the tree. Okay, so this is one difference with Catia V5, obviously. All right, so let's go ahead and make our part. So before I do that, let me point out that I'm in part design right now, right? And you can see that it says part design. But if I double click on this, this says assembly design. So this is what I refer to as physical product or product, and this one is a part, okay? So I want to do the stuff at the part design level. So I just double click so that I go to the part design, all right? So let's go ahead and make actually that box. So what do we have here? Yeah, so we go under essentials. On that plane, we sketch and reorient the view. Yeah, I feel more comfortable this way. So make a centered box and dimension these because I want to say that this side is equal to that side later on. Here's the one. Here's another one. Draw the circle and dimension it right there. And we exit. And then we pad it. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go to this dimension and call it, for example, uh, L. Okay, I want to call this thing L. And of course, this is going to be equal to that, right? Okay, so let's do that. So we go to f of x, tools, on the tools tab, f of x, click on the part, all the important dimensions show up. So for example, I want to say this side, you know what, actually, why don't we rename this first of all? Click that side, select this side, it's right here. I want to rename this thing. I don't want to keep this name to be that long thing. I'm going to rename this. I say L. This is not the same as creating parameters. That's very important. Renaming is not the same as creating parameters. Right? Notice that now that long thing is not called, it's called L. Okay. Now this is the radius. This thing, you see that? You see that? You select it. I want to call this thing R. R. Apply. Good. So I have both of them. You can see that. You have L and R. Now I want to take that side, say add a formula equal to this guy, which incidentally is L. Remember I called this thing L? Okay. And I want to take that limit, add a formula equal to 0.5 times this guy, which is your L. You can see that. Say okay. Oops, something is wrong here. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's 0. Sorry, it says not 0. It says 0.5. So let's clean this up. Double click, make this thing 0. That's why it gave me syntax error. Okay, good. All right, and that's pretty much it. We say, notice that this one still has a problem here. So let's go clean this up. Oh, it's deactivated. It's not because I had an error. It got deactivated. So you put the cursor there, right click, activate. There's no problem. It's just that because there was a syntax error, it got deactivated. So to activate it, put the cursor there, right click, and you go and activate it. Now, same stuff that you do in Catia V5. Now, notice that there are no parameters here. My window, my instruction is that show me also the parameters. But there are no parameters. Just because you renamed doesn't mean you have parameters here. Okay, good. So now we're going to go to, here is the design table. See that? Design table. You click on it. It says, okay, should I create it? Yes. Notice that immediately it appears in the tree because you activated uh, parameters and relations. Obviously, I don't have any parameters. It says import a file. This is the file that I have. This is the Excel spreadsheet that I have. And then you have to say OK. And once you're done, you click on this check mark to get rid of this. You say OK. Now it says, if I see anything in your spreadsheet which actually matches parameters. Now, I don't have parameters, but I did rename stuff so that it became the L and R. So actually, no parameters were created. This is kind of a bad way of saying it, but it matches the stuff in the first column of my spreadsheet. It sees an L and an R. It says, should I assume that this L and R in your Excel spreadsheet is the same as what you actually renamed? The answer is yes. There we are. You can see that. It did it. In the previous video 2, I actually created the parameters and made additional equations, okay? But here I don't have to rename it and everything works fine. The unfortunate thing is that this approach, the way I've described it, does not work for assemblies, okay? So that's pretty much it. This was a relatively short video, and that's it. And there's some overlap between the first one and the second video because I have to show you how to uh, display things in the tree, etc., etc. All right. One last thing before I quit here is if I go to the, and I made this comment in the first two, but I go here, preferences, notice that if I uncheck parameters, it doesn't matter. I don't have any parameters. But if I uncheck relations, see that? Relations, the formulas are going to be gone. Now, what I want to show you is that there is somewhere else that you can actually, presumably, display formulas. If I collapse these parameters and measures, immediately above object properties, click on parameters, it looks like these, having checked them, they must show whatever I did in the tree, unless I don't quite understand, and probably that's the case, what these are pertaining to. But anyway, when you initially look at this thing and say, okay, well, I mean, presumably this should show you any display, any formulas and any values of the parameters, etc. I don't have parameters, I understand that, but it doesn't. Okay, look. However, if I go here once again and under object properties, 3D shape, I say, show me the relations. There are no parameters. I understand that. They pop up. And here is your design table, by the way. You can reach it by left double click and make changes, etc. that you want. I'll take care of it. Okay, good luck. I will do the same kind of stuff for uh, assemblies, but in two different ways.